than 1,000, but it's at least hundreds.
When did you become aware that data had been exfiltrated?
I'm not sure exactly, I think either late 15 or early 16.
And did you, the director of the FBI, have conversations with the last administration about the risk that this posed?
Yes.
And show us, if you will, what actions they took.
Well, the FBI had already undertaken an effort to notify all the victims, and that's what we consider the entities that were attacked as part of this massive spear phishing campaign. And so we notified them in an effort to disrupt what might be ongoing. Then there was a series of continuing interactions with entities through the rest of 15 into 16, and then throughout 16, the administration was trying to decide how to respond to the intrusion activity that it saw.
When the FBI did you ever have access to the actual hardware that was hacked, or did you have to rely on a third party to provide you the data that they collected?
In the case of the DNC, and I believe the DCCC, I'm sure the DNC, we did not have access to the devices themselves. We got relevant forensic information from a private party, a high-class entity that had done the work, but we didn't get direct access.
So no contact.
Correct.
Didn't contact an important part
And
of
I'm
the forensics.
honored by your incredible support and grateful for your
It is,
commitment
what
to
was
our
briefed to me by my
shared
boss,
cause.
who were my folks at
Thank
the
you
time, is
for
that
all
they had gotten
that
the
you do.
information
Thank you
from the
very
private
much.
party that they needed to understand the intrusion by the spring of 2016.
You didn't let me down, and I will never, ever
Let me go
let you
back
down.
in
You know
time
that.
Very briefly. To the decision to publicly go out with your results on the email. Was your decision influenced by the Attorney General's tarmac meeting with the former President Bill Clinton?
Yes, in a ultimately conclusive way, that was the thing that kept it from me, that I had to do something essentially to protect the credibility of the investigation, which meant both the FBI and the Justice Department.
Were there other things that contributed to that you can describe in an open session?
There were other things that contributed to that. One significant item I can't, I know the committee's been briefed on. There's been some public accounts of it which are nonsense, but I understand the committee's been briefed on classified facts. Probably the only other consideration, I guess I can talk about open setting, is at one point the Attorney General had directed me not to call it an investigation, but instead to call it a matter, which confused me and concerned me. And that was one of the bricks in the load that led me to conclude I have to step away from the department or to close this case credibly.
My last question. You're not only a seasoned prosecutor, you've led the FBI for years. You understand the investigative process. You've worked with this committee closely, and we're grateful to you because I think we've mutually built trust in what your organization does and what we do. Is there any doubt in your mind that this committee can carry out its oversight goal of the 2016 Russian
No doubt. It can be done. It requires lots of conversations. But Bob Mueller is one of this country's great pros, and I'm sure you all will be able to work it out with him to run it in parallel.
Well, thank you once again, I'm the third vice chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And again, Dr. Coney, thank you for your service and your comments to your FBI family. They were heartfelt. Know that there were some in the administration that tried to smear your reputation. You had acting director McCabe in public testimony a few weeks back, and in public testimony yesterday, reaffirmed that the vast majority of the FBI community are putting trust in your leadership. Obviously, trust in you too. I want to report testimony. Let's start with the January 6th meeting in Trump Tower, where you went up with a series of officials to brief the government on the Russian investigation. understand is you named afterwards, but briefing them and quote some personally sensitive aspects of the information you wanted. Now you said after that briefing, you felt compelled to document the conversation after you started documenting it as soon as you got into the car. Now, you had extensive experience at the Department of Justice and at the FBI. You worked on the presidents of both parties. What was it about that meeting that led you to determine that you needed to start putting down the written record?
A combination of things. I think the circumstances, the subject matter, and the person was inaccurate. Circumstances here, I was alone with the President of the United States, and the President of Sudan. The subject matter is talking about matters that touch on the FBI strategy, President-elect personally. And then the nature of the person. It was honestly concerning that he might lie about the nature of our meeting, and so I thought it really important to document. That combination of things I've never experienced before, but it led me to that. I've already done in a very detailed way.
I think that's a very important statement you just made. And my understanding is that then, again, unlike in dealing with the presidents of either parties in your past experience, in every subsequent meeting conversation with this president, you created a written record. Did you feel that you needed to create this written record of these memos because they might need to be relied on at some future date?
Sure, I created records after conversations, and I think I did it after each of our nine conversations. If I didn't, I did it for nearly all of them, especially the ones that were subject. I knew that there might come a day when I would be a record of what had happened, not just to defend myself, but to defend the FBI and integrity as an institution and the independence of investigation. And that's what made this so difficult, is it was a combination of circumstances, subject matter, and a particular person.
And so in all your experience, this was not president, you felt like in every meeting you needed a document because at some point, using your words, you might put out a non-truthful representation of it. Now,
That's right, Senator. And as I said in my written testimony, as FBI director, I interacted with President Obama, and I spoke only twice in 3 years, and didn't document it. When I was Deputy Attorney General, I had one-on-one meeting with President Bush about a very important and difficult national security matter. I didn't write a memo documenting that conversation either. Sent a quick email to my staff to let them know there was something going on, but I didn't feel with President Bush the need to document it in that way. Again, because that combination of those factors just wasn't present with either President Bush or President Obama.
I think that is very significant. I think those are probably questions that our chairman and I have requested those memos, so there's our hope that the FBI will get this committee access to those memos, so that again, we can read that contemporaneous condition so that we've got the other side of the story. Now, I know members have said, and Chris has said, a great deal has been made of whether the president will ask, in fact, indicate whether the president was the subject of any investigation. And my understanding is prior to the meeting on January 6th, you discussed with your leadership team whether or not you should be prepared to assure then President-elect Trump that the FBI was not investigating him personally. Now, my understanding is your leadership team agreed with that, or was that a unanimous decision? Was there any debate about that?
It wasn't unanimous. One of the members of the leadership team had a view that although it was technically true, we did not have a counterintelligence file case open on then President-elect Trump. His concern was because we're looking at potential, and it's a separate investigation, coordination between the campaign and Russia. Because it was President Trump's campaign, this person's view was inevitably his behavior, his conduct, would
let me move to the January 27th dinner. And you said, quote, the president began by asking me about the statements of the director. He also indicated that lots of people, in your words, wanted the job. You go on to say that the dinner itself was seemingly an effort to, quote, have you ask him for the job and create some sort of, quote, patronage relationship. The president seems, from my reading of it, be holding your job or the possibility of continuing your job over your head in a fairly direct way. What was your impression and what did you mean by this notion of a patronage relationship?
So, my impression, and again, it's my impression, I could always be wrong, but common sense told me either he has concluded or somebody told him that you've already asked Tony to stay, and you didn't get anything for it. And the deal was an effort to build a relationship specifically of loyalty and in the context of asking me to stay. And I said, twice about it. And he said, I very much hope you'll stay. I hope you'll stay. In fact, we're sitting in the third room. You've seen the picture of me walking across the blue room. And what the president whispered in my ear was, I really look forward to working with you. So after those encounters,
And that was just a few days before.
that was on the Sunday after the inauguration. The next Friday, I had dinner, and the president begins to talk about my job. So I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, 3 times we've already asked him to stay. I could be wrong, but the common sense told me what's going on here is that he's looking to get something in exchange for staying in the job.
Again, the hell is he work for me, but this constant, this, again, pouring you, and seeing spite of the independence he gets coming back to the world, you ever had any of those kind of requests before from anyone else to work for him?
No. What made me uneasy was, at that point, the director of the FBI. The reason that Congress created a 10-year term is so that the director is not seen as if they're serving with political loyalty over any particular person. The statute of justice has a blindfold on because you're not supposed to be peeking in to see whether your patron is pleased or not with what you're doing. It should be about the facts and the law. That's why I became FBI director, to be in that kind of position. So that's why it was so uneasy.
Let me move on to February 14. Again, it seems a bit strange in your meeting, and your direct superior, the Attorney General, is in that meeting as well. Including the Attorney General, before he brought up the matter of General Flynn. What was your impression of that type of action? Have you ever seen anything like that before?
No. My impression was something big is about to happen. I need to remember every single word that is spoken. And again, I could be wrong. I'm 56 years old. I've seen a few things. My sense was the Attorney General knew he shouldn't be leaving, which is why I was wondering. And I don't know Mr. Kushner well, but I think he picked up on the same thing. And so I knew something was about to happen and I needed to pay very close attention to.
And I found it very interesting that in the memo that you wrote after this February 14th policy, you made clear that you wrote that memo in a way that was unclassified. If you affirmatively made the decision to write a memo that was unclassified, was that because you felt at some point the facts that needed to become clear and actually be able to be cleared by it to be shared with the public?
Well, I remember thinking this is a very disturbing development, really important to our work. I need to document it and preserve it in a way, and this committee gets this, but sometimes when things are classified, it tangles them up. It's hard to share it within an investigative team. You have to be very careful about it. I handle it for good reason. So my thinking was, if I write it in such a way that I don't include anything that would trigger a classification, that'll make it easier for us to discuss within the FBI and the government, and to hold on to it in a way that makes it accessible to us.
Well, again, it's our hope, particularly since you acknowledge and guide, you wrote this in a way that was unclassified, but this committee will get access to the unclassified document. It can be very important for our investigation. Let me just ask this in closing. How many ongoing investigations at any time does the FBI have? Well, we had some
Tens of thousands.
tens of thousands. Did the president ever ask about any other ongoing investigation?
No.
Did he ever ask you trying to interfere on any other investigation?
No.
I think again, this speaks volumes. This doesn't even get to the questions or phone calls or lifting the cloud. I know a lot of members will get to that, but I really appreciate your testimony. I appreciate your explanation.
Thank you, Senator. Yeah, but just, I'm sitting here going through my contact. I had one conversation with the president that was classified, where he asked about an ongoing intelligence investigation. It was brief and entirely professional.
But he didn't ask you to take any specific action, unlike what he had done vis-a-vis Mr. Ford and the overall Russian investigation.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Senator Rose.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cohen, thank you for your service. America needs more like you, and we really appreciate it. Yesterday, I got, and everybody got, 7 pages of your direct testimony that's now part of the record book. And first, I read it, then I read it again, and all I could think was, number one, how much I hated the class of legal writing when I was in law school. And you were the guy that brought it out to me after reading this. So, I find it clear, I find it concise, and having been a prosecutor for a number of years, maybe thousands of cases, and read police reports, and investigative reports, this is as good as it gets. And I really appreciate that. Not only the conciseness and the clearness of it, but also the fact that you have things that were written down contemporaneously when they happened, and you actually put them in quotes, so we know exactly what happened, and we're not getting some rendition of it that's in your mind. So,
Thank
but
you.
you're to be complimented.
I have great parents and great teachers who beat that into me.
That's obvious. The chairman walked you through a number of things that the American people need to know more about. Number one, obviously, we all know about your active measures. I think a lot of people were surprised at this. Those of us who work in the intelligence community didn't find this surprising. Now the American people know this is good news, because this is serious and it's a problem. I think second,